VIBErations podcast, part 33, Xiao Mei Huang. Hi, I'm Gary Brightman, and this is my bi-weekly podcast called VIBErations. Established in 2018, Vibe is a book and music shop situated in Mui Wo on Lantau Island in Hong Kong. So, what's been happening over the past couple of weeks? Well, Saturday the 4th of September was a very dark day. Firstly, our beloved Jack Russell of 12 years, Wilson, was put to sleep after 10 weeks of battling kidney disease amongst other things. Our tribute to him can be found in the shop above Jack's first birthday photos. Rest in peace, dear Pup Wilson. We miss you every single day, boy. Secondly, a good friend and Mui Wo resident, Martin Ludlow, passed away peacefully in hospital. I was lucky enough to both interview him for episode 22 of these podcasts and host him at the shop for a presentation and book signing. He was a warm, well-humoured and great family man who is sorely missed. I was pleased to meet his son Jack, who came over from Dubai and is definitely his father's son. Deep condolences to Martin's family and friends. On the 10th of September 2020, I produced the first of these VIBErations podcasts. Somehow it just felt right to try something new. The premise being, firstly, to promote Vibe Book and Music Shop in Hong Kong. Secondly, to interview local people with businesses or good stories to tell. And thirdly, to promote local authors' books, musicians via tiny desk gigs at Vibe and our other services. After 33 episodes, I can honestly say that they have exceeded my expectations and I've grown to really enjoy interviewing people from different walks of life. For me, it's not a numbers game. I don't mind if one person or 1 million people listen to these podcasts, as I enjoy talking to people and finding out what makes them tick. As more people either leave Hong Kong for good or simply change their living circumstances, more donations come to the shop. However, please note that the same rules apply. I need to personally confirm your donations are acceptable, please. And still, the Canto pop band Mirror fans of all ages continue to come to the shop to take photos of the shrine. As well as local authors and artisans, we like to promote local musicians and singers. So if you fancy performing a tiny desk gig at the shop on Saturday, or know someone who may do, then please contact me directly. The next band to appear at the shop are the Funkophones on Saturday the 23rd of October at 2 p.m. And so, to this week's interview. This week I'm pleased to interview Vibe's own Sunday girl, Xiao Mei Huang. Based in Mui Wo, she's just clocked up 3 years working for Vibe, and I hope we can keep her for many more years to come. Being a Mandarin native, she is always interested in learning new languages, and now she teaches English, Spanish and Cantonese to adults and kids of different ages and levels. She enjoys literature and does a lot of simultaneous interpretation and translation works, including Chilean writer Isabel Allende's In the Midst of Winter. She has an MA in Cultural Studies and is also a researcher, writer and translator. Fukushima, Looking Back in 10 Years, is published in Mainland China, and its traditional character version will soon be released in Hong Kong. The kids like her because she is playful and fun-loving, also because she has a cat called Dum Dum. You can easily catch her in Vibe on Sundays as long as she's not occupied by her students. Okay, so welcome to Vibe, Xiao Mei.
Yes, I'm always here.
Yeah. Did you go home? No.
No, not really.
And one thing I was wondering, you've got the electronics company called Xiaomi and Xiao Mei.
Xiaomi. It's Xiaomi.
I knew you'd correct me on that because you always correct me.
Yes. Because, my name can be pronounced like 2 ways or 3 ways. One is the proper Chinese Mandarin way, which is Xiao Mei. Okay.
Yes, Xiao Mei.
Xiao means small, Mei means like today, a brilliant sunshine day.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't mean necessarily the day. It just means like the sunshine is very brilliant, or a person is a female is very beautiful. But I prefer to use the sunshine version instead of the beautiful lady version. Anyway, so that is
Nice.
Xiao Mei in Mandarin, and in Cantonese it becomes Xiu Mei.
Xiao Mei. Yes.
Which sounds like a bit like siu mai, but it is not.
Yes, Xiao Mei. It's a food, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's siu mei.
Yeah.
And then there's the Guilo version. It would be like Xiao Mei, like the way Gary calls me.
Which is completely incorrect, in other words.
Yes,
It's just
so
what you've
either
told
way,
me,
whatever
isn't it?
you like.
Yeah, and not Xiaomi,
Not
the
Xiaomi,
electronics
yes,
company. So
because
nobody
that
ever
one
gets
is-
you mixed up with an electronics company.
No, or siu mai, or
Siu
Chao
Mai.
Min. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start off with 10 questions.
All right.
And the first question is, do you have a favourite book or author?
I have many favorite. Well, I won't use the word strong word favorite because I have many writers I like Haruki Murakami, the Japanese writer.
yes.
Have you ever read him?
You know, I wish I could say yes,
But you
but they are our top sellers in this shop, aren't
Yes, yes, and
Yeah.
also because he has this very simplistic style, and I like it a lot. Bill Bryson,
they? Bill Bryson, yes.
I like
yes.
it the way he writes,
Okay,
and
it's cool.
also the Somerset Maugham.
Yeah, I agree.
Is from your country, eh?
Yeah, Somerset Maugham.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like him since I was like a middle school student. Yes,
Yeah.
he inspired me a lot. It's Sixpence and the Moon.
Moon and Sixpence.
Yes, I like that one a lot. Yeah, it inspired me a lot. Like to know that there's more than just material needs in the world. I like
Yeah, so like most women that come onto these interviews, I say, give me a favourite, which
Yeah.
normally means one,
I
and
cannot.
straight away you'll give me a list of five.
I cannot just give one. Favorite would be just like when you're on the like primary school graduation booklet, and you
Yes.
like you give each other a sheet to fill in your information, and then that would be the typical question: your favorite color, your favorite food.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's easy
That's
for
all I want.
kids.
Red, blue,
Yes,
spaghetti.
I think I think it's pretty easy for kids somehow to choose a favorite thing. They don't have any question about it. But for adults, somehow, for me at least, it's just not easy at all
Yeah.
to say one favorite thing. I cannot. Okay, if you ask me the favorite person, maybe I can give you one favorite person. I'm obliged to my husband.
Yeah, exactly.
But then,
yes.
but then the rest is quite. Even the favorite color, I cannot give you an answer.
Favourite musical artist?
Musical artist, I cannot give you one either. If I really have to, I would say Beethoven because that one
Yes.
he won't fail me. But then there are lots of other well, it's more like tunes I like. It's not like I like all the creations of one certain artist. It's more
Yeah.
like there are certain tunes that really
Resonate
make me
or something?
make me have the goosebumps. You call it the goosebumps?
Yes, yeah.
In Chinese we
Yeah.
call it the chicken skin.
Chicken skin. Gives you
just
chicken
like
skin.
Yeah, the chicken skin.
I
Yes,
like
it
it.
really. For example, the summertime. Summertime has many versions, but I like
Yes.
particularly like the one
Yes.
by Janis Joplin.
Janis Joplin, wow.
Yes, I
What a
particularly
great
like that
taste you
one.
have.
Thank you.
You
Yes,
are
I
allowed
like
to
that.
work here.
I like. I really like that version of hers. It's really make you.
Yeah.
And also like
Okay.
The Thrill Is Gone by B.B. King.
Okay, right. Yeah, the
Love
thrill
that
is
one.
gone, yeah.
The Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses.
Wow, very good.
And also there's a classical one, Concierto de Aranjuez. You might
Okay.
not know. It's for guitar. It's a Japanese composer. The first time I heard this when I was in Spain in a flamenco class, dancing class, and the first time I heard it, it's just like my tears just run down because
Ah.
it's really that powerful for me. Yes.
Because that's the thing, actually. You love flamenco,
Yes,
don't you?
that's the
Flamingo
thing.
dancing, and so I thought your answers may be flamingo-centric. And there it is, the last one. Preferred drink?
Hot tea or coffee? Easy one
Hot
for
tea or
that.
coffee?
Yes.
Do you have a life motto?
Yes, so that would be the In From Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy.
Yeah, Leo Tolstoy,
Yes,
yeah.
Leo
Anna Karenina.
Tolstoy. So it says, I'd rather end up wishing I hadn't rather than wishing I had.
Like it.
Yes.
So that means you take risks.
I take risks.
Yes.
I take the plunge.
Do you have a favourite Hong Kong walk?
It'll be just the trails, the hiking trails.
Yes,
Yeah, like
yeah.
hiking, and so, well, if you say like this year, my husband and I, we accomplished the 10 hiking trails of the Lantau Trail. The 10 sections, right?
Yeah, well
so
done.
only in this year.
Do you have a favourite Hong Kong restaurant?
Oh, I think the restaurant is gone. It'll be long gone. Because it was when I was helping out in an organic farm in Yuen Long area.
Okay.
So in Yuen Long, especially along the road called the Dai Tong Road, so
Yeah.
there is still like farmlands, and that region is called Gam Tin. And nowadays, the people still do farming there. My friends still do farming there, but since I moved away from there, so it's quite troublesome for me to travel all the way there. But before, I used to like help out 1 day a week. They for the farmers, normally they live nearby, so they go home for their lunch, right? But for us,
Yeah.
most of us just some young people, so we have like our own job, but also half farmer. So it's like the ex-farmer, ex something.
Okay.
Type of saying. So we cannot go home for lunch. What we do is there was a restaurant by the farmland who offer lunch service for the workers nearby. The reason why there are workers is because the government take away some farmlands, well, a big portion of the farmlands, to build the high-speed railway.
Okay, yes.
So there are workers working there to build that railway.
Right, okay.
And so that restaurant offered lunch service to them, and the food was very simple Hong Kongese food, but it's just delicious. Especially, I believe it has part of the reason was because we were like working on the farmland and was very sweaty and hungry with good appetite.
Yes.
And then that little shed, it's not too small. It's kind of like the size of the bookshop.
Okay.
But it's just a simple like a shed, because it's just built next to the farmlands.
Yeah.
And the food was simple but very delicious. Really simple. Sometimes we just have like fried rice because there are not many choice. There are just like some set lunch with
I love
like
fried
the
rice.
Chinese cafe thingy, some vegetable with rice, some fried noodle and stuff like that. Or if everything's gone, then there's only fried rice left.
Right, next question.
Yeah.
Faced with a python whilst walking up to the peak. You know this question really well.
I never run into them though.
I haven't asked you the question yet. Would
Okay,
you
keep
please let
going.
me finish?
Okay.
This is the problem with you.
Yes, I agree. My husband said the same thing.
Yes, funny that,
So it's
isn't
not
it?
to you, so it's like to everyone, I guess.
Shut up! Faced with a python whilst walking up to the peak, what would you do?
I'll take a photo and then leave quietly.
Good, like
Yeah.
it. Nice
But
answer.
what else can you do? Tell me. I don't know.
Well, wrestle it, obviously.
What?
Wrestle it. Wrestling was so you fight it.
Are you going to do
So
that?
you pick it up and you. Yeah. Best advice you were given? Probably something I've said to you, isn't it? Make sure you
Not
lock the shop up
really.
at night.
Yes. Well, not really. Now I always told my students it's good to make mistakes. Don't afraid of making mistakes. It's the way to learn.
Did you say that really? Because
Yeah.
I heard that you used to threaten your students if they got things wrong.
I'm going to hit you.
Exactly.
I will hit you, but nobody took me serious.
Until
if it is kids, I say I will hit you. If it is adults, I say I will kill you. But yeah, nobody take me serious.
and does that work? Does that technique work?
No, never. Never.
So moving on to question 9.
Mm-hmm.
Finish this sentence. I live in Hong Kong because.
Because of a series of beautiful coincidences,
Wow.
I should say. Yes.
Like it.
Because it was like when I graduated from my university in Nanking, as somebody call it.
Nanking, yeah.
So
to me.
from the Department of Spanish, and lots of my students would just go for some of those trade companies to do export, import,
Yeah.
which is very what's that word? Lucrations?
Lucrative.
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 Word. See, I cannot even say that word, means I cannot make that big money. Anyways, I'm not interested in take an office job, go to work at 9 a.m., finish at 6
Yes.
or 5, whatever. So at that time, I just decided to do some NGO work to make my life worthwhile.
Yes.
So that time I was like looking online everywhere, and I found there was a Taiwan foundation offered like worldwide volunteer opportunities for freshly graduate from like Mainland China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. So I take that one. But at that time, I wasn't a big fan of Hong Kong at all. Before that, I had been in Hong Kong once, and it was just like high buildings and lots of people, lots of traffic, people walking super fast.
You're right.
And I was not a fan at all. So but I took it because I don't have any much of other choices. So, So I took it and I came, and it turned out to be a very good decision. Everything just turned out fine because in Hong Kong the organization was more like an academic one. So I worked in a university, in the University of Ningnan to be exact. And then I met my mentor. I should call it my lifetime mentor because she is such an inspiring person, a professor in the Department of Cultural Studies. Her name is Lau Kin-chi, and with whom I wrote the book actually. So she was just such a I cannot find the right word for her because she was just always inspiring the young people. She was a selfishless. And she would just go out there and do everything for all the less privileged people. So she organized lots of this kind of like ideas exchange forums, stuff like that. Never ever for money, just for the chance of the world to be a better place. So she became my mentor, and so even after that Taiwan Foundation volunteer job finished, so I still stayed with her and to work as her research assistant and learned a lot from her. And also because at that time in the university I also joined their master program because I joined one lesson and found the cultural studies very interesting, and also it was also there that I did my master degree. So it's basically I work at the day and then go to take the lessons at night back then. Yes.
So what sort of year would that be? Sort of mid 2000s or?
It was 2000. I came to Hong Kong 2012.
2012
in February, and then in summer I joined that master program.
So you actually chose to come here, and of course your family are still back home.
In China. Of course they didn't understand why I wouldn't want to do a stable job and earn some money instead of wanting to do something that doesn't make money. Yes, but now everything's fine, I suppose, because I'm too old for them to can.
They love you and they can see that you're having a happy, good, fulfilled life. I expect. So we'll move on to the last question. And the last question is: do you have a favourite area of Hong Kong?
Well, of course, there's nothing to think about. South Lantau for sure.
Your family, remind me where they live in
Fujian. So it's just north to Canton province.
Would I pronounce that Fujian?
Fujian.
Fujian, but spelled F-U-J, isn't it?
Cantonese should be Fokin.
Oh, Fokin. Okay, so it's different. But is it in Fujian province? Yes. And you're an only child?
No, I have an older brother.
Right. So are you allowed to admit that there's two kids in your family in mainland China?
There was a funny story. My parents had to pay a punishment fee for me.
Really?
Do you know how much I was?
How much are you worth?
So it's like, fee? I think it's 1,200 back in the 1980s.
Wow,
by the end of 1980s. Yes, 1,200 RMB. Fine.
Your parents were fined for having a daughter, for having you.
Yes, for having me.
Well, they really wanted you, didn't they?
Yes, they really wanted me. So that is actually a myth broken, because people say that Chinese always love to have boys. But my father wanted to have a girl so much that they decided to try one more time, to give one more chance to see if it is a girl.
Yes.
Because they already find a pair of adopting parents who would love to have a boy if I was a boy.
Oh, really?
They already found a pair.
Wow. I do understand. I think most fathers, if I was a father, I would want a daughter.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Like me, right?
Yeah, I might be disappointed if I had a daughter like you. You'd be too much of a handful.
Yes.
I think rather than pay the fine, then I would have said, okay, My mistake.
Yes. Well, I think one of the reasons is also because we were not in a big city, so it's like a town.
Yes.
So it's not so strict. So as long as you pay the fine, you're fine.
That's good. I've never heard of that, and I think that, to me, that's a good, if you're going to have that one-child policy, fine, I understand that. But then if there's a little way round it like that, I think that's quite nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not well publicised, but nice to think that that's how you're here, isn't it? Really?
Yes,
That's
imagine that.
very cool. Okay, so here you are. You come to Hong Kong, 2012. You start to work at Linyan. You didn't work at Linyan.
Yes.
Or you were a student.
No, both at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So you get paid to be a
Was
student.
it not allowed?
Yes,
No,
yeah,
it
strike
is.
that.
No, because at that time I even
probably
was
alright.
considered as a full-time student. Although my classes are at night because I
Yeah.
have to take the program, the master program with other part-time students.
Yes.
So I finished my master degree in 1 year, but others finish in 2 years because they have a job. I also had a job too, but I just did it
Wow.
anyway. Yeah.
So you worked very hard, really, to be
yes,
able
at that time.
to teach, to have a job, and to be a student. You were doing
Yes.
3 things at once.
Spanish was my bachelor degree back in Nanjing University.
Okay. All
And
right.
English was something that we started to learn in Mainland China. Every kid has to learn English nowadays from primary school, and some parents even send their kids to some international English teaching
Yeah.
kindergarten, right? But in my case, I only started to learn English when I was already in the so-called junior high school,
Right.
which is at the age of 11, 12, around there. 12.
Oh, right.
Yes.
So reasonably late. And
Yeah, late compared to every other
Yeah.
kids nowadays. Yeah.
And yet, amazingly impressive. Here you are. You speak perfect English, Cantonese, Mandarin, and Spanish. And you
just love
teach,
them.
and you can not only do that, you can teach those languages.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, I just love them. I wish the students can also learn it as a way to learn it, not as something like, oh, the school asked me or the teacher asked me, but as just really a way to expand your horizon, not just limited to your one language or two because somebody told you to. Instead,
Yeah.
just really be able to speak it, to communicate with people, especially now you are in Hong Kong. I would think that naturally for a person who lives in Hong Kong like
Yeah.
Gary should be able to communicate
Here it
with
comes.
local people
Here it
in some
comes.
local language, right?
Yes, yeah. So, did I say that earlier that you are teaching me Cantonese, and I'm a. Where would you say I'm a top student or close to the top level student, or how would I?
you
How do I
won't
compare?
you won't even enter the range.
I'm not even on a scale.
Yeah,
I don't
you're
even
not.
get to beginner.
You're totally not in the zone at all.
Ah, very
Good to
kind. I've got time. I'm still young.
Yeah, you're so young.
Yes,
So yes,
it's
you
still
have
possible.
lots of time. Yes.
Okay, so here we are. You come to Hong Kong. You're at Linyan, and what are you learning there then? What is your degree in?
You mean in Mainland, Master
Yeah.
of Cultural Studies. And then I
Yeah.
decided that, okay, I got what I learned a lot, but I wanted to move on to something else.
Yes, yeah.
And so at that time, so I just quit and then went to Spain for 1.5 months of flamenco lessons. And then
Okay.
from there, I traveled from Spain all the way to Turkey on land transportations only. So like stop
Wow.
by stop. So I went through like
Hitchhiking?
no hitchhiking.
Not because too
take
dangerous.
the train. Yes, take the train. And
Yeah.
the first till Vietnam, I was with one Spanish friend who had a car. So we drive along like a German, France, German, and then to Czech.
Okay, yeah.
Slovakia.
Czechoslovakia. Yeah.
Yes. So and then all the way till Vietnam where we parted, and then from there I was alone. So I went
Wow.
I just take the trains. I sleep at night in the trains and travel the city during the day. And all the way
Wow.
till Turkey. So through like Serbia, the reason why I have to visit Belgrade, Serbia, is because there
Yeah.
was one of my favorite film directors, Emil Kusturica. It's like chicken talk with duck.
Chicken talk with duck.
We don't know what we're talking about because it's a foreign language, it's Serbian.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
But it starts with Emir, Emir. Do you know the director? And then Kusturica, like he did the Black Cat, White Cat,
right,
Times
okay.
of Gypsies.
Okay. Oh, no, maybe
No?
I don't then, actually.
Now we are talking different person. See, chicken talk with duck.
Yeah, chicken talk with duck, yeah. So that was the reason that you went...
I have to, go through the East Europe and all the way
there.
to Turkey. Yeah.
All right, and then, so we're around 2013, 2014 at this stage, are we?
Oh, it'll be 2015.
2015.
2015 in the summer, yes.
So you travel that way,
yes.
yeah.
Actually, I had the wish of finding a job in Spain and stay in Spain because I really wanted to dedicate it to flamenco. Yes, but then if I stay in Spain, I have to like go to some Chinese factories and do like that kind of work that I don't like it to begin with. So so that's it. And I come back to Hong Kong trying to find a job, penniless. And then at that time, boom, there was a job there was a boat hiring a stewardess. And I always had a dream of working on a boat and living on one. So without hesitation, I applied for it. Although the job is stewardess, but I would like to have an experience, whatever it is.
So
I took it, and then they wanted me. Although I didn't have any experience of serving people. You know, I'm lousy at serving people.
I would imagine so. Yeah. I can't imagine you serving people without.
But it's like one of those super.
That's funny. Actually.
It's like super private yacht.
Yes.
So it's burst in like Gold Coast into Moon.
Okay.
So I joined that boat, and in the beginning my job was indeed a stewardess. So you have to like maintain the boat. Although the owner doesn't quite use the boat, but then when the owner comes to the boat, you really have to serve the meal and stuff.
Yes.
But so I don't like that part at all. But after a while, the captain realized that I'm very good cook. So my job becomes to become the crew cook.
Okay.
So I like that part. I like cooking. So that become fun.
Okay.
So I stayed there 1 year and a half, and then got off the boat with my now husband.
I thought we were going to get to that stage because as soon as you mentioned boats,
Yes.
Okay.
So
right.
and then
That's
when
where
I
you met your husband.
Yes, and then when I got off the boat, I need a place to stay, right?
Yes.
And then the first time I come to Mui Wo, I was like, okay, that's it. And the second day I signed the contract for my apartment.
Really?
Just like that, yes.
You just come here randomly?
Yes, randomly. I never been here before.
Fell in love with the place?
Yes, I just heard that it's a nice place and not many high buildings. So I was like, okay, good. I took the ferry first time ever in Hong Kong, directly to Mui Wo. Check the second apartment I saw, that's it.
Wow, that's impressive. You know your own mind. I like that. I think that makes sense. And well, it is one of those places you just come to and fall in love with, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. Nah, no more looking, that's it.
Okay, yeah. So that's what brought you here. And then, and now you're running your own business.
Yes.
So you're translator, teacher, language teacher. How did you? What kind of inspired you to do that? And how easy are you finding that easy doing that?
Well, and so I always had this kind of experience of teaching people language, being a person who be able to speak some languages. So, and also in the environment of, for example, when I was in a boat, my fellow crew, they are all foreigners.
Yes.
So I always have the experience of teaching people some languages.
Yeah.
Right? And then when I come here, I actually didn't quite know what to do yet.
Right,
Again,
okay.
Of course, in the beginning, it's not that easy. But then slowly I picked up, and then from the experience, I would say nowadays it's more like nowadays it's quite interesting and fun, but more stressless for me.
More stressless. That's good. Yeah. Okay.
But of course, I still have to I will still keep running because kids, they are just like something you cannot predict. I like to keep them interested all the time, so I still try every day. I'm still learning new tricks, and still learning new tricks to try to entertain them.
Take my hat off to you. Actually, I don't know how you can do that. I see you teaching in here sometimes, and the children are obviously very young, and of course their mind is all over the place, and you're trying to keep them on thing, and you're using these different techniques, I see, and it does work.
And also I do like kids, and kids like me, not because I treat them like kids, but because sometimes I would feel like I'm just like I don't treat them specially like kids. I think it's more like that. I just treat them as like a normal person. I would discuss things together, like as if and I'm really interested in their topics. The thing is, so they like me and we get along. But nowadays I have a lot of students already based in Mui Wo, in Puyo, and Cheongsa.
You work here on Sundays, and you do some. You're available for teaching on Sundays, and you're available to teach English, Cantonese, Mandarin and Spanish.
Correct.
The other day I came into the shop and Xiao Mei showed me this book that she's been working on with your mentor. Yes. Say her name again.
Lau Qin-chi.
Lau Qin-chi.
Professor Lau Qin-chi.
Lau Qin-chi. Tell us a little bit about the book, and how it came about and what's in the book.
Okay, so it's another story of one of my little adventures. It's more like one day I just received a call from the Professor Lau Qin-chi. Actually, we still have contact, of course, because now and then I helped her to do some international conference simultaneous translations. So we always in touch. And this time she called me and asked me, will I have time for the next 3 weeks? I say, okay, what's that about? She said there's a book that she need me to write.
Nothing smaller than that.
Yes, I was like, okay.
Wow.
It's about nuclear, and nuclear disaster is also one of the topics that we were studying back then when I was a research assistant in the department.
Okay.
So, but it's not it's not like something I specialized in at all. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we also do other lots of things, and maybe ecology and education, and that part would be the part I'm more better good at, or have more information about, more knowledge about. But nuclear disaster is also something I have to learn. So I say, okay, I'll do the research and let's have a try. So in 3 weeks. While I still have my normal teaching going on, and I finished the draft in 3 weeks.
So your involvement with this book is that she wrote this book in one language and you had to translate it to another?
No, it's not translation. It's really writing. It's really writing. Like the book actually has the third author actually had a draft. But my professor think it's impossible for people to read because it's so boring. And she want me to write in my way the whole book, almost 100,000. That would be correct, Chinese words.
So you were saying there, you started that last October.
Yeah.
And here we are, not 1 year later.
Yeah, it's already out.
And it's already out, and it's already completed. What you gave to this book was a structure and a format and an accessibility that wasn't there previously.
Yeah, make it more accessible to readers to read. Make it more interesting to engage the audience, the readers, instead of just like a pile of
statistics that's not really approachable.
So it is based on the Fukushima, what happened in Fukushima 10 years ago.
Yes.
And then
tragic.
like why would people want to use a nuclear power? Why it is like advertised as a type of more clean, more renewable power energy. Is it really true, or why it is promoted in this way?
Okay, that's interesting.
What's the ideas behind it? Why the government wants to use it instead of some other like renewable energy out there in the market?
So and so I think that's a very interesting subject of a book, actually. I mean, is there a possibility that you would be able to translate out into English at some point?
My professor said that someone is working on the English version. Hopefully it will come out. I don't know when, but the book now is in simplified Chinese and out in the China market. But then Hong Kong publishing house was interested, and they are already in the process of buying the property and trying to publish in Hong Kong market in the traditional character version.
Yeah, that one
should come soon. Yes.
Okay. Interesting. And where, would you be able to buy this sort of thing, this book?
In Vibe, I think.
So yes, come to Vibe. But how many copies have you got? What if we get a rush on Saturday? What if there's
We will get more, yes.
What if all the Mirror fans that come here suddenly want to buy a book on nuclear physics? What do we do?
Yes, that'll be a problem. No, leave your name. We will be able to get it for you, for sure.
Good, yes. True businesswoman. Yes, you're right. Leave us your name. We've got a wish list. And we'll maybe even get Xiao Mei to be able to sign it, and maybe
no problem
her
at all.
mentor or whatever to come here and sign it.
Yes.
Or maybe your mentor would want to come here and do a talk.
Yeah. If people are interested, but she's a very busy person. I'm not sure.
Oh, she'd probably hate that. How cool is it to have your name on a book and to be able to be involved in it? I think that is most people would struggle. Their whole life they would like to achieve that, and there you are. You've done it in 3 weeks exactly. I know, how brilliant.
Oh, but there was there's another book translated that will come out, but that one I am a translator instead of the writer.
Yeah.
Yes. That would be the Isabel Allende's In the Mist of Winter. That should come out also in Mainland China.
Ah, right. Yes.
Yeah, that one I'm a translator. Yes.
That's cool. Because actually, I think that's another fun side. Well, I think it's a fun side of your job is that you do this translation work, don't you? And you've done things for. Diplomats and things, haven't you? And forums.
Yes, forums is for almost every year a forum on sustainability. So it's like an international conference thingy. So lots of interesting scholars, they exchange ideas on many different topics. So it's not just on one or two. So that's one. And then if people are interested in on topics such as like the alternative to capitalism, about environment, about like the hotspot nowadays, for example, about Afghanistan's refugee issue, all different topics.
Yes.
So that's one. And then sometimes even a forum on like Chinese traditional medicine, and forum on the other day I even did a forum on transgender issues, because people would just my professor would give my contact to other scholars, and they would contact me to do some translation as well. And then there is those are simultaneous translation actually, but of course I also translated.
Really?
Yes, and then I also
simultaneous. So you're doing them on a as they're in a forum in a room.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like for me it's between Chinese, English, and Spanish. There was also another series lectures on Venezuela issues, because American trying to paint them as like the dictatorship and trying to put on the sections on them and stuff. So what's really going on inside Venezuela, taught by the people. So it's also interesting series talk lectures we did. All of this, quite many of them is organized by Professor Lau Kin-chi.
Okay.
Yes. And
yeah.
she
So
did,
by your
like
mentor,
I said,
she just
did all of this not for profits. Yeah.
Yeah.
All can be reached by the public. And then I also did academic paper translation, like on the issue of like markets with Chinese, Chinese with China, back in the 100 years of solitude.
Gabriela. Marquez.
Garcia
Marquez. Yeah.
So I did quite many of literature papers translation. So it's quite academic. And also the other day, this month I just finished one on the Hong Kong agriculture academic paper. Yes. So that's academic one. But actually, what is the really fun for me is to do the literature translation, because in that way I can choose. It's almost like I wanted to express what the author trying to say, but on one hand, but on the other, I really have to find the right Chinese word that contain all of those meanings, all the emotions that they try to express in their original tones, right? In original voice. It's quite interesting. I love that.
Hard.
But it's very interesting because I know Chinese. Well, the other way from Chinese to English is another way. It's about to be exact. Right?
Yes.
For me, because I'm not English native, but I also did that.
Yeah.
Which is another level of translation. It's different. It's very different from English or from Spanish to Chinese. To Chinese, I know all the Chinese words. I just need to find the right one.
Yeah.
But then the other side, from Chinese to English or to Spanish, is about to be exact. Like, because after all, I'm not native.
Yes.
I need to make sure the English or Spanish word I choose is the right one. The audience recipients, to the target audience.
Target audience, yeah.
So it's different story. But
that's very.
What's my favorite? My favorite is the Chinese, the foreign language to Chinese in literature.
Okay.
Because it's fun. It's like writing a book, right?
Yeah. Where can people find you on Facebook?
Just through Mandarin in Lantau with no gap.
I thoroughly endorse Xiao Mei, not just because she works here, but she's taught me, or she teaches me, and I've seen her in action. She is very, very good.
Thank you, Gary.
It's a pleasure. So thank you very much for coming to talk to us today.
I had fun. Did you?
Absolutely. Too much fun. Too much fun. You can listen to all our Vibrations podcasts, published on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Amazon Music, TuneIn and Alexa, Stitcher, Listen Notes, Player FM, SoundCloud and a few others. Or you can watch on our YouTube channel under Live at VIBEHK. Or follow the links from my website at vibehk.com. Our next podcast will feature an interview with Pete Spurrier of Blacksmith Books fame. The opening and closing music is from my good mate in Tong Fuk on Lantau Island, Pete Millward. It's called Green Island Dub by Celestial and is on the Retrospect vinyl album, on sale at Vibe. Finally, a reminder that Vibe is open 7 days a week, every day of the year from 12 noon until approximately 6:30 p.m. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for listening to the 33rd Vibe Book and Music Shop podcast called VIBErations. I'm Gary Brightman. You get my vibe?
Can you imagine what this old island must have looked like to those Dutch sailors when they first saw it? Fresh green. Like a dream of a new world.
They must have held their breath. Afraid it would disappear before they could touch it.